welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And I did know about this puzzle. It's the new Phistomefel puzzle, and so yeah, it's gone straight to the top of my list. I hope you don't mind. Phistomefel always puts me in a good mood, and he seems to have come up with a totally new Sudoku rule as well, so I'm looking forward to trying this one. I've got a few things to mention though before I read you the rules of this puzzle. We've had a very busy 24 hours or so. Let me start actually by sharing with you this puzzle, Quantum Safe Sudoku by Chameleon, which was last night's video. It took me a long time to solve it. It may not look like much in terms of the grid, but as a famous Han once said, she's got it where it counts, kid. This is an unbelievable puzzle. You literally can't solve it. You're not meant to be able to solve it. You have to leave in the grid ambiguity in order to correctly solve the puzzle. It is just amazing. A real, I don't know, homage to Schrödinger cells, and quite remarkable puzzle. So if you have a chance to have a go at that, I really would ask you to do it. And actually, I'm going to give a shout out to Dominic Baitet. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Dominic, who wrote that watching me solve this was like watching somebody fall in love, which I thought was rather a beautiful idea, and I certainly did fall in love with the puzzle. Now, next, we had an absolute blast last night streaming. We streamed for 2.5 hours, I think, ourselves solving our own, well, not our own puzzles, but puzzles from our own app. And yeah, I did partake in wine. I need to say a huge thank you, actually. We had some incredibly generous donations last night. We're always grateful for any donation at all, but particularly Mike Smith and RJ McCready, it might be McCready, but I think McCready, just blew us away. So thank you so much to everyone who watched and contributed, and especially to those guys. We also discovered the chat was on fire last night. We discovered loads of things that Phistomefel could do. So, for example, I'm led to believe that Phistomefel did the Kessel run in under 11 parsecs, which is pretty fast. But there were a whole heap of other things that Phistomefel did that chat told us about and amused us greatly throughout the evening. We also found out that Mark doesn't like jam. I have no idea how the chat got onto that subject, but Mark did confirm he doesn't like jam. What's wrong with the man? I don't know. Now, next shout out I need to give is to the extraordinary Weecock. And let me explain what Weecock has done, which is to create Cracking the Cryptic, the pinball machine. I don't know if the sound is going to work on this, but I'm going to attempt to show you it. I mean, this is real. You can play this pinball machine on your computers. And I will leave a link under the video that show you how to get this pinball machine. It seems to have, voiceovers which are actually on point. I don't know how long it must have taken Weecock to work this out. It's got me saying bobbins a lot when I play it. It's got a Maverick ramp. It's got a Bubba Is You ramp at the top there. It is just incredible. I mean, it really is. So it tickled us pink, this. So thank you very much to Weecock for creating it. And yeah, we commend it to you. Now, next thing on my list, well, Duality, this incredible Sudoku Hunt that we've got going on over on Patreon at the moment. The feedback has been absolutely extraordinary. We have had literally thousands of correct entries to the first 4 puzzles, the sort of intermediate challenge that we gave you, and we'll be picking if you haven't had a chance to have a go at that, do have a go before the 20th of October to be in with a chance of winning a signed book, and then we've also had loads of people who've managed to solve all 14 puzzles. Far too many names actually for me to read out in this video, so I'm going to read some of them. I'm going to be doing them in order of those that we've received first. So yesterday I did several names. I'm going to do another batch today, and then we'll keep going through the course of the month. So very well done to Joseph Costel, to Daryl Gilbert, Matthew Brockwell, Oh, Clenor Jensen, I think. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Kay Collins, Jai Redden, Jeff Edwards, Dennis Ocken, Nathan Hurt, Patrick Neasy, Triple Three Ears. I might be saying that wrong. That's very hard to pronounce. John Gemmell, Marcus Andreasen, Chris Musson, and Dylan Bianchi. All of you, fantastic work and well done on finding that secret page on the internet which revealed the password. I will tell you there's an Easter egg to find as well in that hunt, so I'm sure many of you have spotted that, but those of you who haven't might want to hunt for it. Also, we've got some birthdays today. So, Julie, you've just turned 18 over there in Denmark. Your brother Mads let us know that, so I hope you have a brilliant day. And yeah, Caden, I think you've turned 4 today. We had an email from your daddy Joshua, and he told us that when you had COVID, the thing that sort of gave you some comfort was cracking the cryptic videos, which is incredible. So, Caden, I hope you have a brilliant birthday today with an enormous amount of cake. Meredith, your boyfriend Samuel wrote to us. He described you as an amazing girlfriend, Meredith, so well done on that. And Scott, you have turned 21 today. We had an absolutely lovely email from your mum, Regina. I know you're a senior in college over at Stevens Institute of Technology, which I think is in Hoboken. And well, your brother Daniel, your father Scott, so Scott Senior, I guess, and your mum, obviously, they pass on their love and best wishes for this special day, which is all rather wonderful. There is an awful lot of nice stuff going on around Cracking the Cryptic. We are very proud of this community, I cannot tell you. But now I better get on with actually solving some Sudoku, shouldn't I? So Sum Line Sudoku number 1 by Phistomefel, which implies I guess there's going to be a number 2 and a number 3. So Phistomefel must have thought that this idea has some legs. Let me read you the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, i.e. fill the grid with the numbers 1 to 9 so that each row, column and 3x3 box has each of the digits once each, basically. For every triple of adjacent digits on a line, right, let me just read this again. For every triple of adjacent digits on a line, one of the digits has to be the sum of the other two, e.g. 257, 693 and 844 are valid adjacent digits along a line. Okay, digits may repeat on a line if allowed by other rules. And then NB, each line in the shape of a Y, okay, I can see we've got several of those in the grid, contains or consists of 3 lines, each of 3 cells length. For instance, the line running in boxes 1 and 4, that's this line, consists of 3 lines, row 2, column 2, row 3, column 2, row 4, column 1. Yeah, okay, I can see that's a sequence of 3 adjacent cells along this Y pattern. Row 2, column 2, row 3, column 2, row 4, column 3. Yeah, that's a different line. I can see that. And then presumably that's the other one, is it? So row 4, column 1, row 3, column 2, row 4, column 3. Yes, okay. So I get that. So each little Y shape, we have to consider it as having 3 possible consecutive lines within it. And we have to make sure that along each of those 3 consecutive lines, or 3 lines, 2 of the digits must sum to the other one. Yeah, so I was about to put 844 on there. That just, I know that does work. I could do 8 here, 4 here, 4 here. So that line would work because 8 is the sum of double 4. Now, oh yeah, there was an example puzzle as well that Phistomefel kindly put on the page on Logic Masters Germany. So let's have a quick look at this and see if we can understand it. So we've got sort of a U shape here with a 6, 1, 5 and 4 on it. So we take 3 digits on the line, 6, 1, 5, yeah, and 6 is the sum of 1 and 5. Okay, and take the other 3 digits, 4, 5 and 1, and 5 is the sum of 4 and 1. Okay, that makes sense. 4, 1, 3 on this side, yeah, well 4 is 1 plus 3. 6 here is the sum of 1 and 5. Okay, I think I sort of understand this. It's very intuitive, isn't it? It sort of makes sense. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And right. Well, my first instinct here, which is probably going to be proved instantly wrong, is that these Y shapes are probably what the puzzle is about. Now, literally the only reason I'm saying this is because if I was setting this puzzle, you know, you probably find something interesting about a Y shape, and then you include it. Look, so it looks like Phistomefel has included these nearly sort of regularly arranged in the grid, whereas the other lines all look a bit more higgledy-piggledy. And therefore I'm guessing that they've been put in after the setter has discovered something about Y lines. Now that's probably going to be proved wrong, but actually thinking about it, the Y line is the line that is the most restricted anyway, isn't it? Because it seems to be the only line in the grid that's, well, the only shape in the grid that consists of lines plural. I mean, even that shape there, that's only got 2 lines on it, whereas this definitely has 3. So what is it about? What are we saying? We're saying that 2 of those digits add up to the other one. 2 of these 3 digits add up to the other one. So I'm instantly seeing there that that digit can't be the... Yeah, well, I'm seeing that that digit is not the biggest digit on this lattice here. Because if that was the biggest digit, wouldn't those 2 digits have to be the same? I think that's right, isn't it? If we try and make this 9, for example, this is common to both of those sums. So 9 would be the digit we're adding up to because it's the biggest digit. So you'd have to, so these 2 digits would add up to 9, but also those 2 digits would add up to 9. And because this is common to both sums, they must be the same number. So that is not the biggest digit on a Y. Yeah, and that's symmetrically true there as well, isn't it? That would not be the biggest digit on the upside. Well, actually, the right way up Y. So I suspect it's something to do with working out where the big digits go. In fact, let's. I was thinking about colouring this, but yesterday I used the little ABCD tool a little bit, so I'm going to do that again, I think. So let's just, oh no, hang on. Let's just put A, B, C, D into this shape. Now we've worked out A cannot be the biggest number. Can that be the biggest number? If that's the biggest number of A, B, C, and D, that doesn't work either, does it? No, that doesn't work either, because again, what happens here is, if we think about that sum, if this is the biggest number, A plus C add up to B. But we also know if this is the biggest number, A plus D add up to B. And that means that C and D must be the same because A was common to both sums. So actually, we've already worked out that C or D is the biggest number on the lattice. Now, what does that mean? Let's just say it's C because it's a symmetrical shape, so it's going to be one of these. Let's just say it's C. What are we then saying? We're saying that C is equal to A plus B, and C, oh, so we're saying A and D are the same. Oh, this is really interesting, isn't it? This Y shape, I mean, how do you come up with this nonsense? I mean, it's just mad. I don't understand how the thought process goes. But Phistomefel is definitely a sort of genius. So look, if this is the biggest number, because it's the sum, therefore, of A and B, and it's the sum therefore of D and B is common to both sums, A and D would have to be the same. So in fact, we can reduce the structure of the line now. We can get rid of D altogether and put A there. And because we don't know which of these is C and which of these is A, we can add A to that and C to that. And that is the general structure of a Y shape with these rules. One of these is biggest. Do we know the size of A relative to B? Yes, we do. Right, actually, let's go further here, because there is going to be a sum on one of these Y strands that doesn't involve C, and that's going to involve B. So let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to have to put some digits on this, I think. I'm going to say this is the biggest digit. So let's make that 9. So if that's 9, I need these digits to add up to 9. Let's make them 4 and 5, and then that's going to be 4. And that's wrong. Actually, that's wrong. It doesn't work. I need to make... Yeah. Because these digits are forced to be the same by the 9, let's think about how this strand works now. So 2 of these digits have to add up to the other one. Well, obviously, we can't ever have one of these being the highest digit, because that would imply this was a 0 then. So this is the biggest digit, and it must be the sum of the other 2. So how does that work? That means that this... Well, it means that that's always even, because it's 2 times those digits. And therefore that's got to be 6, I think, and that's got to be 3. So if this is 9, that's got to be 6, and that's got to be 3. But obviously this doesn't, we don't know what the highest digit is on the sort of tips of the Y. It could be anything, but we do now know something about B, because B is always double A, because there must be a line, either that line or that line, which is going to be the sum of those 2 digits. So that means that this digit is 2, 4, 6 and 8, and that is propagatable, if that's a word, to every midpoint of a Y. So now we've actually got some pencil marks of digits. And that means that A, which is the top digit, which is these digits, has to be 1, 2, 3 or 4, because we know it's half of whatever B is. So, but I don't know which way round these go. Right, but okay, but one of these is C, and C is the sum of A and B. So A is actually not 4, because if A was 4, B would be 8, and C would be 12. And that's too big to put in a Sudoku digit. So this is not 4, which means that's not 4, that's not... Whoa, that's not 4. Careful, Simon. That's not 8, so that's not 8, that's not 8, and that's not 8, and that's not 4. So it's either... So there are actually only 3 values for C, because C is either 3 plus 6 equals 9, 2 plus 4 equals 6, or 1 plus 2 equals 3. So AC, I think we can get rid of A now. I know it's a bit sad to do this, but I think we've sort of understood the structure of, we've understood the nature of Y, haven't we? Right, so the low digit here is 1, 2 or 3. And the high digit is either 3, which I've already put in, or 6, or 9. So these are 1, 2, 3, 6 and 9, and that must propagate everywhere. That's going to give me a quadruple look in this box over here. Let me put that in. So those, oh no, there's 5. there's 5 digits in 1, 2, 3, 6 and 9, so it doesn't give me a quadruple. Bobbins. Bilbo Bobbins. Can't remember who it was it might have been Leo from Brazil who sent me a picture of Bilbo Bobbins. If I manage to, I shall put it up on the screen now. It was quite funny. Right, so now I almost want to sort of keep track of what the possible Y shapes are, because there's one that's 1 on top of 2, then a 1 below it with a 3, isn't there? So 1, 2, 1, 3 pair at the bottom. But then the next one would be 2, 4, 2, 6. So 2, 4, 6, 2 pair at the bottom. Or we've got 3, 6 and a 3, 9 pair at the bottom. Right. Okay, well then forget about quadruples. Yeah, okay. Let's look at those 4 digits then, because there must be a 4 in one of those cells. Because if there's not, if this is a 2, 6 pair, what digits get transposed into these cells? Well, from the 2, you're going to have a 1, 3 pair, and from the 6, you're going to have a 3, 9 pair. And so you haven't achieved even quadruplage for those 4 digits. They have to be selected from 1, 3, and 9, and therefore one of them must repeat. So that doesn't work. So that means that one of these is a 4, which means that 4 is in one of those 2 cells in box 6, which doesn't seem to do anything. And one of these has got to be a 2. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, how weird. Right, so because you can't, right, that's amazing. So because you can't put 2, 6 there, and therefore one of these has to be a 4, the 4 obviously has a low digit of a 2 in its tip. Now that 2, which is in one of those 2 positions in column 8, rules 2 out of the midpoint of both Y's and forces those to be a 4, 6 pair, which means these now can't have 1 on them, because 1 cannot partner up with 4 or 6. So this is now a 2, 3, 4, 6 quadruple, which means now that, hang on, let's work this out now. So the 2 and the 4 go with 6 and 2. Oh, there's no 1. Right, so we have reduced this now. There's no 1 in these cells anymore, because a 1 requires a 1, 2 arrangement on the other Y-wing. Misusing the term Y-wing from a Sudoku perspective there, but you know what I mean. This is a Phistomefelian Y-wing. Now, what can we do with this? The answer, my friend, is apparently, well, blowing round the empty halls of my mind at the moment. I do not know. I want to use this 4. All the other digits, the 2, 3 and the 6 in the column are sort of found on the end of the Y's. So I think the only Sudoku advantage I get from this is the 4, knocking a 4 out of those cells. And this structure's a bit different, isn't it, on this side? It's not as powerful, I don't think, because we can't lock 4 digits. Like these 4 digits don't see each other. That one doesn't see that one. Right, so the difference in the geometry between this side and this side is actually in relation to the stems of the Y, by which I mean those 2 digits see the entirety of the other Y, which is certainly not the case. Right, so these 2 digits are probably the important digits. Let me just think about this. Sorry, I know. Right. Okay, that is not a 2. This is lovely. I love the way that you could just turn the geometry upside down shuffle it very slightly into different boxes, and it has a completely different sort of logical effect. That cell has to be a 1, 2, or a 3. So imagine this was a 2. If this is a 2, we know that this Y shape has 1, 2, and 3 on it in those cells. Well, this cell sees all of those cells through the mechanism of Sudoku, and therefore wouldn't be allowed to be anything. So that's not 2, which means that's not 1, which means these are not 1. We've now got a 2, 3, 6, 9 quadruple in row 4. And that might mean something. I want to say... No, that's not what I was about to say. There was total and utter nonsense, so I'm not going to say it. So I don't know what this is, but I would rather like to know what it is. Is there any common digit that I get to eliminate from these cells? 6. Yeah, that's true. So if this is 2, 4, there's a 6 in one of those. If this is 3, 6, there's obviously a 6 in one of those. So there is a 6 now on this top Y, and therefore that cell can't be a 6 because it sees the entirety of the top Y. It's just beautiful. So if that now can't be a 6, that can't be a 3. And if that can't be a 3, these can't be 9 anymore. So this is either 1, 2 with a 1, 3 pair, or 2, 4 with a 2, 6 pair. So it doesn't actually get much reduced. But now that... so these bounce back and forward between each other. It's just sick. It's stupidly clever. That can't be 2, 4 now, because if that's 2, 4, that cell's got no value. So this top, I've got a digit. I've got more than one digit. That's got to be a 3. That's got to be a 6, which means these squares are big. Well, 9 and 3 is what they are. Which means these squares are not so big. So these have become 2 and 6, which we know goes with 2 and 4 as the top of the Y. So that means that's 6, that's 3. These squares are now 3, 9. So we've got all sorts going on all of a sudden. We've got to put 3s and 9s into these squares by Sudoku. We've got to put... what else can we do here? Nothing. Oh, we can get rid of 6 from these cells. Oh, well, that's good. If I can get rid of 6 from these, this can't be 2, 4 anymore, because 2, 4 would require a 6 in a tip. So this is now more digits. 1, 2. That's a 1, 3 pair. 1 is now in one of those 2 cells in box 6. 2 is in one of these 3 cells in row 5. So these are now 2, 3, and 9. And we can, from this, deduce probably something about the Stonehenge shape. But let me just stare at this, because I have a feeling there's a Sudoku I can do here. Always my nemesis. Well, is there though? Well, there might be, but I can't see what it is. So, okay. So I guess we've got to think about this, perhaps. Seems very hard to believe there could be a 9 on. If there's a 9 in one of those cells, it's in both. Yeah, this Stonehenge shape has 2 runs of 3 on it. It's got that one and it's got that one. So if one of these was 9, it's in both shapes, and that's going to force the same digit into the tips, isn't it? Let me just prove that to myself. Yeah, this cell is common now. If this is 9, this is common to both this sequence and that sequence, which forces those two cells to be the same number. So that doesn't work at all. Sort of that's what my instinct was. I couldn't quite prove it to myself instantly, but that's now 2, 3. That's 9. So the 2, 3. Yeah, so it's sort of like ambiguous arrows, isn't it? You've got, but because we need to have different digits in the tips of these, what do you call a Stonehenge shape? A stela or something. Is it a stela? S-T-E-L-E? There is a word. I can't remember if stela is the sides of the Stonehenge shape, or the stela is the thing on the top. That's going to bug me now. Anyway, there is, whatever this is, I've got to put different digits into these, and therefore one of these has to be the difference between 2 and 3, and one of them must be the sum of 2 and 3. Therefore these are 1, 5, a 1, 5 pair. And let's just prove that to ourselves. So if this was 1, and we look at that string of digits, you can see that 1 plus 2 equals 3. Now we can't put 1 here. So in this string of digits, we need something that's the sum of 2 and 3. It's the only way we're going to get to a different result. So that would be 5. So this is 1, 5. That's not 1 anymore. So this is 1. This is really lovely. And so far, not monstrously hard for a Phistomefel. So now I've got loads of digits. I can potentially... a 6. I can just put 6 into here. Where does 6 go in this box? There's a 2, 6 pair there. It goes there. So probably this is the line we want to look at, although I'm just going to pencil mark these. 4, 7 and 8. Yes, and it does feel, and this is probably going to be a silly thing to say, but it does feel like the 3-cell lines in these puzzles are... they're like, imagine you had an arrow clue in a 3-cell arrow clue in an ordinary Sudoku. I mean, it wouldn't be that useful. So I feel like these are disambiguators, these 3-cell lines. Right, now what I'm thinking here is these are big. So this cell here cannot be the sum. It cannot be the biggest number on this arrow, because if it was the biggest number, it would be the sum of at least 4 plus 7, which is too big. So this must be the difference between whatever we put on this arrow, which could be a 1 if this is 8 and 7, or it could be a 3 if it's 7 and 4, or it could be a 4 if it's 8 and 4. And I could put 4 on here, couldn't I? Because I could put the 8 there, and that would allow double 4. So that's worth considering, perhaps. What's that digit? Oh, I must be able to get this digit. Where does... yes, okay, I see. It's where does 5 go in this row is the question to ask. Because this 5 here plonks a 5 into one of those 3 cells, and that by Sudoku plonks a 5 up here. Now, what's going on this line is the question I think we need to ask ourselves now. Although that feels... that feels a bit icky to me. That digit can't be 1, 2 or 3. So it's at least 4. So we can't be summing these 2 digits together, can we? So this is going to be the difference. But it could still be a high number, I think. If that was 8, that could be a 2. But if this is a low number like 5, this can be a 1. No, okay, so now, oh, hang on, but I know quite a lot about row 6. I know I need 4s, 7s and 8s. Ah, okay, so that can't be a 4, look. So there's a 4 over here, 4 there, and 4 up here. 7 or 8 here. Oh, I know that digit. That's the middly digit of its Y shape. So that can't be the low digit. Oh, I could have written that in ages ago. That's a 4, that's a 2. Knocks 4 out of that cell. No, I was about to say that might knock 8 out of this, but it doesn't. That could still be 8, 7 with a 1 differential. And if it's 3 here, I need this to be 7, 4. Okay, so I'm now getting stuck, which is bad, Simon. Don't get stuck. And it was going so well, to borrow a favourite pinball phrase of mine. Yeah, that's Q from Star Trek The Next Generation, the pinball machine. Oh, and you were doing so well. Okay. Right, maybe this is the digit I'm meant to focus on then. So this is from a Sudoku perspective, 4, 5, 7 or 8. Okay, right, and I said, I think I already said this, that these two digits can't be summing together to give this digit. So whatever this is the difference between this digit and this digit. So if this is 8, that becomes 2. If this is 7, this becomes 1. This is getting interesting actually. If this is 5, this becomes 1, and if this is 4, this becomes 2. So this is... this is just 2, because there's a 1-3 pair in the row, apparently. Oh, good grief. Hang on, let me think about this. I just want to double check this. That's what my instinct is telling me. That each 3-cell sequence, if you've got 2 of the numbers, the other number is either the sum or the difference. That must be true. It can never be the sum here, because this has got too big. So this is the difference, and the difference is always a small number, because this is so middly. And therefore that's 2. Which weirdly doesn't tell me what that is. So even though I now know this is 2 and 6, this is the difference. So it's 4 or 8, which is weird. But that might shift the 5 into somewhere useful. No. That 2's giving me that digit. So that's 2, that's 3. That's 1. That's 1 now. So that's got to not have 4 on it. This needs to be the 7 and the 8, which means that is a 4. This is a 1, this is a 5. Aha! And... okay, so what's this digit now? This digit must be even, because these two are even. And it can't be 2. That's got to be 8, doesn't it? I can't see what else it can be, because it can't be 4. So that's got to be 8. Right, okay, well I was thinking about parity there. How on earth does that bit of this line work? These are both odd. Right, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. It is. Look, right. That I'm going to write in as a 4. See if you can work out why. It's parity. That's all I'll tell you. It's absolutely gorgeous. So think about the nature of these lines. That's how to do it. Pause the video. For those of you who managed to do it, congratulations. The reason this works is because if you think about a sequence of these arrows, you can't have 3 odd numbers, because you can't make 2 odd numbers add up to another odd number, and you can't make it just will not work. Hopefully parity is very clear there. 1 plus 3 does not equal 5. So you're going to have at least one even number in any string of these 3 on these lines. Now you could have 3 even numbers, but otherwise you've got to have 1 even number and 2 odd numbers. But these, they see all the even numbers. They see 2, 4, 6 and 8. So they are both odd by their very nature. Orange is the colour we use for odd. Now if these are odd, that simply has to be even to make this line function. And it can't be 2, 6 or 8. So that's just 4. We just write it in. That's going to give me an 8 here. That gives me a 7 here. That means I've got some stuff to do over there. These 2 digits now. Oh, that's a 4 by Sudoku, I think. So that's a 5. So now those digits are 6 and 7, I want to say. And we need these digits. Well, there's a 1 on this. There's a 1 on that arrow, which immediately means that... no, I was about to say something wrong then. I was about to say that must be with 5, but it could be with 3. Oh, bobbins. Right. Okay, these are 1, 3 or 5. Because it could be 4 is equal to 1 plus 3, or it could be 5 is equal to 1 plus 4. So we can't quite, or at least I don't think I know which way round that goes. This is not 3 by Sudoku. So this row must be where we look next, he says, hopefully. 5, 7 and 9. That is just 7 or 9. That and that are therefore 5, 7 or 9. Which is remarkably unhelpful, actually. I think. Bar humbug. Right. Oh, I've got an 8, 9 pair in that column. Which might matter. Now, what about that line in terms of low digits? Because this line can't have a 1 or a 2 on it. Now, if it doesn't have a 3 on it, how on earth does it work? It can work, but only one way. It would have to be 4, 5, 9. But it can be. It can be 4, 5, 9. I don't believe it. Right, so that probably is 4, 5, 9. That would give me that as a 7, that as a 9. Oh, right, hang on. I've got the same thing going on this line as well. I've got to... Well, the thing is, I don't have to on this line. This line, if it doesn't have 2 on it, has to be 4, 5, 9. Which would be interesting indeed. If it does have 2 on it, it has to go there. But if it does have 2 on it, it doesn't work. Yeah, so this is sort of this parity thing again, or that's how I've just spotted this doesn't work. It's a bit strange, but let me just explain. If we put 2 on this line, what is the nature of these 2 digits? Now we have a choice. We either make this line entirely even, which we can do, but those 2 digits would be 4 and 8, and that doesn't work. Because if they're 4 and 8, there is no way that we can make 2 of those digits add up to the other one. So these are not all even. So making this 2 forces these to be odd. But if they're odd, they're not 1, 3 or 5. So they're 7 and 9, which absolutely works from the line's perspective, but doesn't work from that digit's perspective. So there is no 2 on this line, which means this line is 5, 7, 5, 5, 4, 9, because it's not got 1, 2 or 3 on it. And the 5 goes there. So that's 5. This is a 4, 9 pair. This is not 7 anymore. That's not 7. That's not 7. This is an 8 by Sudoku. Therefore, that's a 9. That's an 8 by Sudoku. That's an 8 by Sudoku. That's an 8. That's a 4. Keep going. 4 is in one of those 2 cells by the power of magic. These 2 squares are something. 2 and 6, I want to say. That's a 2. There's a 2 in one of... Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I want to put 2 pencil marks into those squares. There's a 6 in one of these. Right, but now... Right, that's a 3. That's a 3 in the corner, but not of the puzzle, so I don't know whether it gets a song. Probably not, but that is 3 in the corner, because this can't be 4, 5, 9 now, because that cell would break. And if it can't be 4, 5, 9, it must have a low digit on it, and that low digit is not 1 and it's not 2, so it must be 3, and the 3 seems to be pinched into that cell there. So that's a 3. Which actually doesn't do very much, which is... Well, no, actually I'm aligning that unfairly. Because it does do something. It removes the 3 from there, so this has become 1 and 5. Which is resolved. Oh, I see. I think this might have been resolved before. I'm not sure. Okay, so now we've got a 1 in one of these 2 cells. That's a 9 now, using the power of the 5 I've just put in the grid. So that's a 5. And so I think all we have to do now... Oh, well, it can't put 6 on this line, because the other digit on the line's either going to be 9 or 3, and there's going to be 2 3s, so that's a 6 now. So these squares have got to be 4 and 7. You rotten thing. You rotten, rotten thing. Well, no, it's just rotten. It doesn't do anything. 6 is in one of those 2 squares. I've almost used up all my lineage, haven't I? I haven't got much left to do. And I can write in these digits, which are 2, 3, and 7 in some order. So that's a 7 by Sudoku, of all things. Okay. Now, let me just stare at this. I'm sure I'm going to be able to do some very profound Sudoku in a moment. I just need to spot where. There's an 8 in one of these. Where's the profound Sudoku that we can do? It is going to be, there's got to be an... where does 9 go in that column? There's some profound Sudoku. That gets me a 9 there. Apparently an ambiguous 9 in box 1. So this square is a naked single, I think. C's 8, C's 7. So that seems to have to be 4, which gives me a 4 here. How many 4s have we got? Several, but not... Apparently... Oh, no, that 4... I was thinking, how can this be a deadly pattern when these are offset? But it's not, because that's 4. This is 7. Oh. That's 4, that's 9. So this has become a 1-9 pair in the bottom row, which means these have got to be a 2-7 pair. And weirdly, this sort of columnage here is not resolving itself. So it must be this arrow, I think, or line. What about this row? Let's just check this row before I get carried away with maths again. 1, 5, 6, and 8. So that cell is 1, 5, or 6. Oh, that's 1 or 5, that one. It sees 8 and 6. So if we can get rid of 6 from here, happy days. Well, I can certainly... I know I can get rid of 6 from here. That can't be 6. If that's 6, what on earth do you put in there to make this work? Now remember, this is 2 or 3. So if this is 2, I need this to be 8 or 4, and it can be neither. And if this is 3, I need this to be 9 or 3 again, and that doesn't work up for obvious reasons. So that is not 6, which means I've now got a 1-5 pair here, which means I need 6 and 8 into those 2 cells, and nope, that does nothing. Oh, right, but that's odd all of a sudden, isn't it? So now I know this is not 3 even digits. I might have known that another way before. Yes, I could have seen that another way before, but I haven't been thinking about parity in relation to this line. So either this is odd as well, or that's odd and that's even. And if this is even, it's got to be 6, and that doesn't work. Yeah, that can't be 6. Because if it's 6, how are we going to make the lines add up? Well, that could be 1 or 5 to go with this 1, 5. That doesn't work, clearly. There's just no way. But the options just don't add up to 6 or any difference of 6. So if that's not 6, it cannot be even. Therefore, it must be odd. We can't put 3 odd digits on the line, so that must be in the even digit on the line. So the even digit is a 2. The 3... Still, it's ambiguous. Oh, this could be 2 plus 3 equals 5 now. So if this is 1, that has to be 3. And if this is 5, it could be a difference of 3, or it could be a sum, it could be a 7. So that is 3 or 7. This is tricky. This last bit is tricky. Okay, but now I've knocked 6 off this line. 6 has to be in one of those 2 squares, and that at least gives me that digit. So that's got to be a 2. That's got to be a 6, which means that's a 2 and that's a 7. Which means 7 is either, either there or here. 5 is not. Okay, so 5 is in one of these cells as well. But I don't seem to know enough about 5s and where it can live in the world of box 3. So perhaps I can do... I've got a 7 down there. That's an 8. That's a 7. Yeah, maybe it's Sudoku over on this side of the board now then. So I need 5, 6 and 8 into these squares. So that's 5 or 6. That's 5 or 8. Or maybe it's not. Oh, I don't believe it. What am I missing here? Naughty puzzle. Naughty puzzle. It's going to be Sudoku, isn't it? What is the Sudoku trick here? Oh, for goodness, I've just noticed what it is. That's outrageous. That's almost been put in to foil me. Okay, what's that square? 1. It's not that. It's not 2. It's not 3. It's not 4. It's not 5. It's not 6. It's not 7, and it's not 9. So that's 8 by the power of naked singlage, which means that's 6. Okay. Which means that's 8, and that's 5, which means that's 6. Now, has that actually allowed us to understand what's going on in sort of on this arrow? I'm not totally sure yet. This 5 means, that has done it. So that's pushed 5 into this square, Or has it actually? I'm not actually sure it has done it. That gives me a 1 here. 1, 3, 3, 9. No, that stops it. Oh, 9, 9 goes there. So what's that digit? That is 2 or 7. That, right, it's the 2 in this row goes here. So that becomes 7. That becomes 3, and this line works. It would have worked the other way as well if this was 7, but this Sudoku-age seems to have sorted things out. So that's 3, that's 9, that's 9, that's 1. That's a 1 in the corner. I need 5s and 7s into this row. So that's 5, that's 7, that's 7, that's 6, that's 6, that's 2. What a beautiful puzzle. That's so, so clever. Again, yes. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So these lines are massively interesting, especially when arranged in strange shapes. And we learned some things about parity with them. And what else did we learn? We learned a bit about sums and differences, didn't we? So it's quite a mathematical puzzle today. But yeah, loved it. As always, the great man delivers time after time after time with a Sudoku that just basically makes you think and then gives you joy. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a go. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.